and listening to Anja Asks Anybody. And today I'm talking with Joe Lino, actor and one of the three characters in Next Act Theater's production of Sanctuary City, which is on right now until October 5th.
That is correct.
Cool. Well, hello.
Well, hello.
You have a wonderful actor voice.
I've been cultivating this my entire life.
I bet you've done voiceovers for ads, haven't you?
I've certainly tried. I have not been lucky enough to be cast in anything, but, if there's a national commercial out there, think of me. I've got a great voice for commercials.
Yeah. I think maybe you would be great for like mashed potatoes and gravy.
Oh, yeah, like a voice like gravy, like a...
Yeah. Can I hear you saying like, would you like some mashed potatoes and gravy right now?
Would you like some mashed potatoes and gravy right now?
See?
Yep.
Yeah, you're ready. Yeah. You're ready to be hired.
Mashed potatoes, call me.
Yes. So, this play, Sanctuary City, is a very serious play.
Yeah.
You have been in rehearsals for it for some time, and now you can go see it. I saw it last week.
Yeah.
Can you please tell the audience and listeners at home, what's the premise of this play? And then, again, I want you to tell us, after you tell us the premise, what you think the play is about now that you've gotten to know it.
Definitely. So Sanctuary City is a play by Martina Mayak, and this is about two immigrant kids living in Newark, New Jersey. And the play takes place from 2001, right after the events of 9/11, and it spans to 2006. And it was really just the story of them finding their way in America and trying to find citizenship and sanctuary in this country, and all the logistics and drama that they face. And then what the play is, also about is hope and finding safeness and what you're willing to do to protect your sanctuary once you find it. So that's what the play is about for me, and I think my character is definitely a protector in that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. What are some other things that came up while you were getting to know this play? Like do you have anything personal that everybody has something personal that they kind of project onto it, but what did it get you thinking about?
Yeah, well, this play specifically, I have not played a character that is this close to me before. So the character of Henry, who I play, is a first-generation kid. His parents were not born here. But he spent his whole life growing up in America. He's very, I would say, privileged in that route, of that he was given opportunities that, the two other characters in this play were not. But he also, faces his own challenges in the play because he's a gay man, and also, too, that identifies that. That's something that he also kind of brings a unique struggle level to. The play takes place before gay marriage has been legalized in America, and his own struggle to find his own sanctuary in that is, trying to find his love for his partner and what he can do to protect that and protect his partner.
Yeah, that was one of the wild things to me about this play is I was very alive then. I was in 2001 when the 9/11 happened, I was a freshman in high school. And in 2006 when the play ends, I was in college. And that was a world in which gay marriage wasn't legal, but that feels so long ago.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about how just small things like everywhere you went, people were smoking indoors.
Very true.
And
yeah.
that's not our reality anymore, and it feels very, very distant, almost like it never happened.
Right.
And but still, even though gay marriage is totally legal now, there are people talking about taking that away. And it brought up for me how fragile everything in this country is.
Yeah.
And also thinking about what we have gained and what we have accomplished in the past 20 something years. What are some other things that you think, because you've been thinking about this, how is the world different in the world of this play versus now?
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely. Those are all great. I think some of the things that are, the same, not to get too dark immediately, but like, you know, we're living through a lot of fear, like what you mentioned. Gay marriage is legal right now. Those rights exist right now. And I think there's a lot of Americans, myself included, that, you know, are really trying to question about what are we willing to do to protect those rights and stuff like that. So I think the fear that existed at that time is still very relevant and prevalent here in this day and age, 2025. And I think that stems from a lot of, like, there was a lack of education around issues, you know, very specifically around gay marriage. You know, people were just ignorant around that fact, and I think we're seeing a resurgence of that. But the things that, you know, are also very different is that we're seeing more people, you know, challenge that education of, like, we're seeing more people willing to stand up and say of, like, okay, no, we're going to start educating people. I'm going to educate myself, and we're not going to stand for that ignorance that's going to breed fear and breed hatred. You know, we're going to be people who are smarter than that or more evolved from that. So I think that's the big difference in terms of, like, that issue that I'm seeing. I personally, you know, try to be that person in my everyday life. Yeah, I think there's some similarities and differences.
Yeah. Yeah. What's it? I mean, I'm not an actor. You are. What is it like having a director in the creative process, and how did they direct you to? I assume their role is to push you in a direction you wouldn't think of.
Yeah, no, that's definitely part of the director's role. Our director for this, Jake Penner, is a wonderful man I've got to work with. This is our first time working together, and he definitely brings, like, a director's role is to bring the overarching you know, once the actors bring everything that they're bringing to their characters, the director is there to really mold and shape the story, I think, you know, based off what the actors are bringing to the table. And then because of that, you know, different things that the actor brings and then the director kind of, like, latches onto. Specifically for Henry, we really wanted to deepen his protectiveness. That was something, like, a nugget that I brought to the table. And Jake was very much like, we're going to continue to deepen in that, and he pushed me in that direction in terms of, like, you know, what does that really mean to protect someone on stage rather than, you know, putting your hands on somebody? You know, how can you protect someone with your words? How can you protect someone with your actions rather than, you know, actually having your hands on them, you know? So yeah, that's definitely a challenge that I was pushed to in this process.
Yeah, it's very interesting because, you know, it showed for me, because I've seen you in a few things now. It showed me, like, what a versatile actor you are, because the last time I saw you, you were in a comedic
yes.
role. You want to tell us about that character?
Oh yeah, that was a 180 shift from Henry. I was playing a character that was a part of an a cappella group that was taken hostage by another member and told that the end of the world was happening, and chaos ensued. And yeah, and that was definitely a more satirical look at our world today. Yeah, that was much more fun times.
That character was very vain.
He was very vain. Yeah. He was basically someone who was on an American Got Talent show that is returned to his small town that still thinks he is very much the hot shot. And he joins the a cappella group to try to prove that to people, and it doesn't go so well for him. If you were able to catch the show, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, you know, you can play a wide range of characters. If you had to get typecast, because it happens.
It does.
What, and I hope it doesn't happen to you, but, like, what would you hope that if you were typecast, your kind of character would be?
So I've thought about this. I actually loved this question when I saw it. So I hope to, you know, and we're in the age of AI and, you know, what that means for art and characters if we're going to have androids, you know, we are all done that. I think I would love to be known as the go-to android guy. I think I can play a really good robot. I can play a really good AI. Well, I did have you do, like, an AI voice for me before. Exactly.
Yes.
See, so you already I'm just saying. Yeah. So I think being known as if you need someone to play AI, Joe Lino.
So that does make me wonder then, like, do you see AI entering the theater in some way?
I have not yet seen it enter in terms of acting. I hope we don't. I think that's one of the few things that AI won't be able to do is replicate actors. In terms of AI art, no, I haven't seen that cross the stage yet.
Yeah.
Speaking of yet.
Wow. I'm sure somewhere there's a board at a nonprofit theater
they're
somewhere.
trying. Yeah, I remember way back when there was the topic of like, are actors safe? Will AIs just take over acting? It's like, they're certainly easier to direct. You can just program their lines into them.
Yeah. Well, an AI is just so much more charismatic.
Exactly,
really.
right?
Yeah.
You can play range now. I mean, look at what AI is. Uh-oh, now I'm convincing myself.
Yeah. So this is a very heavy play. What do you keep telling yourself that gives you hope when you have to like spend so much psychic time thinking about all these things? Yeah.
What gives me hope for this is reminding myself that, I mean, all of these characters, the three that are in this play, you know, they're good, they're bad, they're flawed, you know, they're humans. But at each point, they do stand up for what they truly love and what they truly believe in. And that gives me hope, you know, the people focusing on, you know, equating that into the real world. You know, we'll always have the do-gooders in the world. We'll always have the heroes. I saw Superman, you know, recently, and I really think that's just, I love that so many people are identifying of like, you know what, I can be a Superman. I can be a superhero, you know, I can be, and that means just being nice to people, you know. So anytime I see that in the world, it gives me hope. Anytime I see that reflected in the play, this play specifically, that gives me hope. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there some way that you really related to the character you've been living in so much, Henry?
Yeah, like kind of like I mentioned, in terms of like just his background is very similar to me. Who he is as a person is very similar. And just into, I think, how he interacts with the world.
You know what? I did ask you that question.
Oh yeah, no, I'm happy to say it again. I really like Henry. Henry is one of my favorite characters I've. I
loved watching Henry.
Yeah, he's a sweet guy. I don't know how you can't like Henry.
Yeah. Well, and I always think of art as a cool way of like all art forms are an opportunity to me to spend time thinking in ways you don't think normally.
Mm-hmm. To challenge yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what I really love about what Next Act, specifically the theater.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about Next Act.
Yeah,
I don't know much about Next Act.
Well, this is my first time working with Next Act Theater. I did know the artistic director, Cody Essel. I knew him from Chicago from my days there. But I do know that the shows that I've seen there, they choose shows that are relevant and topical. And that's something that I've been really happy to be a part of this show, especially now that I'm just, you know, I can feel like I'm saying something and adding to the conversation in a good way and challenging people's perspective, like you said. Another way that Next Act they engage with the community. We've had talkbacks. We have talkbacks after every Sunday show. And we had our first one this past opening weekend. And just, again, hearing people's just reactions to it is very just cathartic in a way. I think it's a very like community building. So I think that's something that Next Act thrives to do. They do shows that are relevant, and then they try to engage with the community, which I think is the way theater should be. Yeah,
so their next show is Boswell. Yes. Do you know anything about that one?
I do not know anything about it. I do have some friends in it. I have my friend Sarah Zapian is in it, and I do know some of the big players in Milwaukee. Laura Gordon is directing. I don't know much about it yet, but I will be seeing it.
Yeah. What do you... I was so excited when I saw your face in the bathroom. I was at Next Act Theater, and I was in the bathroom, and they had posters for the next play, and I was like, oh, there's Joe.
It's my face.
Yeah. We used to work in the Deep Lake Future together, wearing janitorial gear.
Oh, Fuzz Pop Workshop.
Yeah.
Daniel, if you're listening. Fuzz Papa.
So I just was like wondering, you know, because I've seen you in a lot of different roles, and I think you're seen for who you are, but what do you think people might overlook in you as an actor? Because the thing I'm always struck by with theater and actors is how you don't get to decide where you're going a lot of times. Like you have to go through this vetting process where people pick you, you know, and like, what do you think people might underestimate or overlook in you?
Definitely. No, I love that question. I think it can be twofold, because I think what they overlook in me is what they overlook in a lot of artists, which is artists can self-produce work. And I think what you're talking about is that we spend a lot of our times getting told by our programs or whatever, what have you, that you have to wait for people to come pick the right show for you. you can very much write your own show. I'm a playwright. That's something that I would like other people to know as a multifaceted artist. And some of the best roles that I've played, Apocalypse, the one show we were talking about previously, I wrote for myself. And that was one of a really rewarding experience because I feel like, obviously no one's going to know you better than you. And no one's going to bring your artistic voice better than you can. So I think that's something that people overlook, artists in general. So I would say, write a play.
Do you think the culture of theater is changing in that way? Like, do you think people are becoming a little more empowered to produce and write and not just be an actor stuck in the wind of auditions?
Yeah, no, I think very much so. And if they're not thinking about it, I think they definitely should. I think theater is always kind of be a multifaceted. I mean, you can never just be an actor, that always requires of being a little bit of a director. And then I've known so many people who are playwrights, they're actor combatants, they're actors, they're directors, they're what have you, scenic designers. So I really think the more creative talents you have makes you a better, well-rounded, faceted artist.
Yeah. Is there ever a time though where like you're seeing someone and you're like, oh my goodness, they're
doing too much?
Yeah, or like they should not be the dramaturge. They should not be the director. They should not be the stagehand.
With there should never be a one-person project. I think you should always try to have help. I think that's the wonderful thing about theater is that it is a collaborative art form. It's meant to be a collaborative art form. Even one-man shows, it is not a one-man process. There's so many other eyes and brains that go into that. So
yeah. No, that's what I like about it. Like when I was, before deciding adulthood, I always thought like, oh, I'll be an actor. But I think like that was one of the things that turned me off about it was how you're throwing yourself out there to other people's decision-making process. And I wanted more creative ownership. Yeah. So I went down the visual art because that seemed like the most open-ended, malleable.
You had the control over it. Yeah, very much so. Yeah. No, I would agree with that. And luckily that is the view I think of people are changing around. People aren't just seeing themselves an actor beholden to whatever my agent says, whatever a director says, we're all artists,
I love
the director is on the same playing field as the actor. They can't do this without you. You can't do this without them. So
yeah, in the spirit of a community effort, I understand that right now you are looking for an abandoned looking bunker.
We are,
somewhere in Milwaukee to do a play. What is the play called?
So a play is called 5 Lesbians Eating a Quiche. It was written by Andy Hobgood and Evan Linder. Andy Hobgood is my partner currently. And we are looking to produce that. We have a whole team. The one thing we're looking for is space. We ran into a huge debacle in trying to find a big warehouse space in which we want to produce this show. We want to make it a fully immersive process. We want the audience that comes and sees it, they are part of the show in terms of they get character name tags. And so we really want to create this whole immersive process. So yeah, we're looking for a warehouse anywhere, some type of large space.
So if anybody has a warehouse or a large space.
Rentable to artists for a long-term this play has the potential to really become like a cult classic thing in Milwaukee too. So more details for that to come.
Yeah. So how can people contact you if they're like, oh, I got a space?
I would say I'll give my contact information through you. I would say.
Okay. Contact the show.
Yeah. Contact the show and I will get.
Yeah. You can email me subtleforcespod@gmail.com.
If you have any warehouse leads.
Yeah. Warehouse leads.
Or just want to hear more about the show.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you have a creative assignment that you can give the listeners?
I do. I also love this question. I would say I'll tie it back to that: be a self-producing artist, whatever that means to you. I personally would take that as write a play. So I would say as a specific challenge, find a topic that you're very passionate about, something that's either happening in the world right now or something that's very topical to you. And write a play or write something about it and really try to focus on the humanistic aspects of how that issue makes a person feel, how that shapes a person's life. I think that will encourage empathy, and that's something that the world needs more of right now.
Yeah, so by doing that, do you have to spend time writing down the thoughts of someone who does not think like you?
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I think that writing down or brainstorming in terms of like and trying to think outside of the box. Yeah, I think thinking of something that or finding someone or trying to put yourself in the shoes of someone who doesn't think like you is a wonderful first step.
Right, because like I guess my one concern with that assignment, if you don't have a character who thinks differently than you, is that it might sound a little soapboxy.
True.
Yeah.
But, I think in terms of like an exercise, maybe that can just be the first steps of starting a dialogue.
Yeah.
And maybe someone will read that and be like, hey, that is a little soapboxy. Maybe the playwright won't think it. I think that it is start a dialogue. I think that's the most important part.
This is a conceptual question, I guess. But like, what is a play?
What is a play?
Like, how do you write a play? Like, how do you know it's a play?
A play. I mean, so anything live theater is anything is happening in front of you is a live performance. Technically, if someone was watching us do this, that could be considered a play. There's all the world's a stage, as the great William Shakespeare said.
Yeah.
What isn't a play?
Yeah, I think about that as a writer, because sometimes I'm people call me a poet, but sometimes I'm like, this doesn't really feel like a poem.
Yeah, you might be right.
Like what isn't a play when you're writing?
I say also too, and that's to challenge the norms of what that is. I mean, you saw Sanctuary City. The first half of the show is very untraditional. It doesn't take place in a linear storytelling.
No.
So it's not a traditional play. So it's also to challenge yourself on what you think a play is. Challenge yourself in terms of maybe that's another creative assignment. Write a play that you don't think is a play.
I like that. Yeah, I like all of that. Yeah.
Theater's always been about challenging norms. I mean, that's art. And theater is just a medium of challenging.
What is one norm you are currently challenging?
Oh, gosh. Currently challenging.
He was not prepared
I was not prepared for that question. I am just trying to get people to, I think and have empathy.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my big goals.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of violent rhetoric coming from all kinds of people right now.
Yeah. So,
yeah. So, what's something you've learned about yourself that surprised you while working on this project or another theatrical project? Because I feel like all art is discovery.
Yeah. I think definitely with this project, it has taught me that certain plays and projects are going to require some checking in beforehand. We had a wonderful intimacy director on this program called their name was Gabby Labatka, and they did a really good job of explaining the importance of checking in and checking out with your fellow actors, with yourself, especially with dealing with stuff like this. And I'd never been a part of something that I felt the need to do that. And so that was kind of a surprise for myself. I wouldn't say a good surprise, but it was something that was like, okay, reminding myself that I need to take care of myself in that way.
Well, especially when your character kind of reminds you of you, but they're in a very intense situation.
Yes, and getting things, not nice things said to them. Yeah, very much so. Yeah, and detaching myself healthily from that was a new thing that I learned during this process.
Did anyone ever have to like pause and be like, "I'm sorry, I still like you"?
There was after one run, I went up to Ashley, who is in the play when our characters aren't nice to each other, and I was like, can I hug you like after? And so there was definitely moments of that because it's impossible to not have that bleed over. We are actors, we can separate ourselves. We're not, doing full method acting, but it is hard. You're still doing that to another human being, and the body remembers that.
Have you ever been in a situation where you were with a method actor or had to do method acting?
I have not, and I hope to never. And if I ever meet a method actor, I will run away.
Now, why?
I don't know. I think just because of the stigma, I will say I won't run away from a method actor. The stigma of what method acting is, we all know the story of Heath Ledger, that it can go dark. There are real dark things in this world, and if you're dealing with that dark art and telling that story, you have to be really careful about how that, infiltrates you. And I think some people take it to the extreme.
Yeah, because method acting is basically like, I must do everything my character does.
They become the character, and they're famous stories of people like sending gifts to other actors in character of like, the famous one of like, the Joker, anyone who plays the Joker is kind of falls into that trap of like, let's not method act because that's just a dark character that you can get into.
And then there's people in the world who who choose to method act as the Joker.
As the
Yeah.
Halloween's coming up. Don't be that person.
yeah. Don't be the Joker for Halloween. It's dangerous. You might
Don't
never stop.
method act.
Yeah. So let me see. Yeah, is there anything going on outside the window you'd like to tell us about? Because I'm used to, at this job I used to work at with Joe, we would just sit in the window 4 hours.
Many hours.
Just describing what was happening.
Making up plays, actually.
Yes.
We had a whole drama happening across the street.
Yeah. What do you remember of what we would see in the street at the old place?
We would see so many things. We would see, there was a whole animal kingdom there was like a whole bush tree situation that we would throw our apples and banana peels to.
Yes. Seagulls would come diving down into the street and take our apple cores away.
There was a whole story we came up for the house across the street in terms of like who lives there.
Yeah.
Are they throwing these parties? What are these elaborate parties? Sometimes there would just be random things posted on the door.
Yeah.
We would send each other over to read them. We'd spy.
Yeah, we would try to not look like we were staring at them,
but we were so staring.
But we would try to report back what was written on the door. And then one time we saw them post something on the door, and then we saw someone come out and rip
it down very violently and like aggressively. Yes. And like it seemed like a victory for that person, and that was a whole story. At least that's what I told myself. Yeah,
and then there was a man who would like to read with his shirt off. He did performative reading.
I forgot about him. Yes, you could see him very clearly. Yeah, performative reading is a good thing. Yes, I'll never forget. Early morning, he was shirtless, facing the window, just not really reading, because how could you read like that, and just full on display.
Yeah. It'd be too dark to actually get a good reading. And
we thought about this a lot in terms of like the lighting is not hitting his eyes in a way conducive for reading.
Yeah. One time I think I even saw him on the street corner.
Just standing doing the exact same thing. Shirtless once again.
Yes. Yep. With a book.
If you're listening, sir, we see you.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes. Yeah. And then I remember one time you saw someone trying to steal a bicycle, and the house.
The house. So it must have been like a boarding house of some kind, because the residents were very close knit and they watched each other shit. Yeah. Stuff. There was a bike that was attempting to be stolen by somebody, and the entire house came out and were like yelling at the guy and chased him off, and it was a sight to watch.
That was a moment when the community all came together, and we got to see it because we had nothing else to do but look out the window.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you see out the window right now?
I was going to say, let me do a little turn. Well, I currently see a beautiful sunset. We're having some wonderful weather here. We're getting that nice bit of summer.
That golden hour light.
It's the golden hour lighting. You know we're talking about Instagram influencers. In terms of, I'm seeing some people walking home from work, get home safe people, and it just seems like a very chill, quiet evening Thursday night in River West here.
Yeah, there's some dying sunflowers, and
I actually saw previously on the way here, speaking of shirtless men, I saw a lot of shirtless men jogging.
Yeah.
Some with dogs, some with not. But they were all shirtless.
It was meat hour.
It was meat golden hour. Oh dear.
Golden baking meat.
Golden roasted meat hour.
Yes.
You know what we're talking about, Milwaukee.
Yes. Yeah. So do you have anything coming up that our listeners ought to know about?
So my next show is happening at Milwaukee Chamber Theater. It's called Murder Girl. It's a play by Heidi Armbruster. She's a local playwright from Milwaukee. It has another cast of local Milwaukee artists. It will be running, I can't remember, but it will be in the holiday season.
And where?
At the Milwaukee Chamber Theater in the 3rd Ward.
All right. Thanks for coming on, Joe Lino.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
And that's it.
Bye.